experience, so 5 years experience working in the recycling industry, ranging from businesses to communities to schools. And we also have Risala from Bangladesh. So we have Risala Khan from Bangladesh, and Risala has experience working both locally and globally. He's been a climate campaigner with Abbas, leading a lot of global climate marches, and we can talk more about your work. So I'm going to start with this very important question. So young people have been at the forefront of climate action. From banning plastic bags and Seychelles, as we heard yesterday from the President, to influencing the outcomes of COP21, having the Paris Agreement. Now the question is, how can we reconcile grassroots activism by young people and policy making? In other words, how can we ensure that young people and governments are working together? So I'm going to start with Sarah. We've heard about small island states, and you come from one, so climate change is very key to you. Please share your views.
Sure. So grassroots in particular is extremely important, not only for raising awareness on environmental issues in communities, but also for mobilizing people. And it's extremely important to really have that strong connection between those on the ground and also those in government. When you talk about policy making and so forth, it's really important that the policy needs to reflect the needs of the people. So it's really important to have communication, great communication between community groups, non-profit organizations, and those in power to ensure that when the policy is drafted and the policy is made, that it reflects the needs of the people and it has a collective vision. So that's my input.
So the key word here is communication. You think there's not enough communication between governments and non-profits working, especially young people?
Yes, so I would say that, at least for Trinidad, I'm sure it is the same across many countries. There seems to be a disconnect between the great, appreciated and known by the government. So I think communication is a big thing to work on, and it's definitely a disconnect in Trinidad. So.
Thank you, Sarah. We're going to move on to you, Risala. So you've had experience a bit in the local and global arena, especially with influencing the outcomes of the Paris Agreement. Please tell us about your experience.
Sure. So I just want to pick up from what Sarah said and what Ms. Clark said as well. I think right now, the 21st century world is very different, right? We all kind of feel it. We feel the interconnectedness that we all share. And the challenges that Ms. Clark posed, the sustainability development challenges, climate change, these are all issues that we have to face together. Yeah. And I think that is the major kind of crux of our time. And if we cannot shift into that mindset that we're all in this together, whether it's government, whether it's grassroots organizations, whether it's business, we have to build a shared narrative of really being, coming at it from a place of, all right, how can we work together to solve these challenges together? And you can imagine like what kind of an inspiring future that can be if we can all come together and say that, all right, these are really heavy challenges that we're dealing with, and we're all going to pursue them together and tackle them together.
Okay, so I'm going to dig a bit deeper. We're talking about the Paris Agreement and the ambitions and 1.5, 2 degrees Celsius. So I recently read a report from Stanford University and others that have laid out roadmaps for at least 139 countries to move to 100% renewable energy. And which means that most countries can actually run on 100% renewable energy by 2050. Why are we not moving towards that? What do you think is the gap? And I put this question out to the panel.
Well, you know, often the easiest thing to do has just been to put up a coal plant. I think, however, it's obviously not the smart thing to do anymore, and there are plenty of other technologies available, but particularly for least developed countries, they will need financing solutions for those. You know, development assistance remains extremely important to least developed and to small island and other small states. You know, if I reflect on by the way, New Zealand can be 100% renewable. This is entirely possible. In a good rain year, when I was Prime Minister, we were already 70% renewable. A lot of it was hydro. We were starting to invest a lot in wind energy. We have geothermal, so I guess we're a lucky country in a way, but we can do it. We're on a path to it. But if you look at how we rolled out energy, we did it an old-fashioned way with transmission lines that ran from the far south of our very long country, maybe 1,500 miles to 1,500 kilometres to Auckland and beyond. Now these days, for developing countries which don't have a transmission network like that, I'm a strong advocate of looking for decentralised solutions where you can. And I think to roll out sustainable energy for all in the short medium time frame, all the technologies need to come to bear through solar, through micro hydro, where that's possible because it doesn't do great environmental damage just to run a little turbine off the side of even a small stream. Wind energy, there are taking on more debt at commercial